SEC football finishes up with what could be a toss-up. The number 16 Tennessee Volunteers versus the South Carolina Gamecocks on SEC Saturday night. Williams-Brice Stadium on a Saturday night. Alyssa Lang is on that field. He's the College Football Hall of Famer, Matt Stinchcomb. I'm Taylor Zarzer. This could be another fantastic game in the SEC. It's been that way for years when these two get together.
When you look at how close these games have been, 7 of the last 8 decided by 6 points or less. And you look at what this game can mean to both of these programs. This is a measuring stick game to start a season, an all-conference slate for both Tennessee and South Carolina. Both of these programs trying to see what is the trajectory for their respective teams in 2020.
This is the first time since 1988 that the Vols have opened against an SEC opponent. This is the 39th meeting between the Gamecocks and the Vols, originally scheduled for October the 10th. Vols lead the series 26-10 with 3 ties as the 29th straight year these two have teed it up. Man alive, have you missed this? South Carolina will get it first as it goes through the end zone. They'll get it at the 25 with a new quarterback, Alyssa Lang.
Yeah, guys, we're just moments away from seeing new Gamecock quarterback Colin Hill take the field. Now, him being a grad transfer, he had a lot of work to do this offseason when it came to winning over the team. I asked head coach Will Muschamp, how did he do it? He said, well, he didn't do a lot of talking. He came in, he set the tone by working. And it was the second practice when senior tight end Nick Muse came over to Coach Muschamp and said, that guy's been through 3 ACLs. What a competitor. Not only his history, but the way he came in and put in the work for this Gamecock program right off the bat, won his offense over real quick, guys.
It's just crazy, the twists and turns of life. 85 miles from home, and Colin Hill wearing a Gamecocks jersey throws across the middle. It's incomplete for Shi Smith on a slant route. It's 2nd and 10.
Well, for him to come all the way here to be with his former head coach, offensive coordinator, and play caller now at South Carolina, Mike Bobo. And what got him onto the field to get this start was his familiarity with an offense that desperately needs to reestablish its confidence in ability to not only move the football, but put points on the board.
Harris in the backfield with him. Kevin Harris to his right. Fakes to him and across the middle. This time it's wide open. The middle of the field up to the 45, and it's Shi Smith. If it doesn't work once, try again. First down, Gamecocks.
With Shi Smith, as you see him come up, he's a little bit banged up after that first reception, but he is their playmaker, at least from a known commodity standpoint. South Carolina needs other guys to emerge, but when you look at the talent that left the Gamecock offense, Shi Smith is the known guy on the outside and already 2 targets.
Yeah, 118th career catch Stinch. Brian Edwards, who had such a great 4-year career, graduated. Kevin Harris on the first carry for the Gamecocks gets up near midfield, be marked down at the 48-yard line. He's the sophomore from Hinesville, Georgia. They're missing Marshawn Lloyd, the true freshman who was expected to maybe start, tore his ACL in August. So kind of a by-committee backfield between Deshaun Fenwick, Kevin Harris, and Zaquandre White. For Mike Bobo, the new offensive coordinator, we'll talk a lot about him tonight. 2nd and 7 for Hill. At his own 48, wants to throw out of the backfield, and it's caught past midfield, past the 45, and Harris is marked down in Tennessee territory at the 43.
Easy pitch and catch for Colin Hill. Great job by Xavier Leggett, blocking on the perimeter. Ends up being like what we've seen so much, long handoffs. They'll take them, and Kevin Harris, a season ago, didn't have a ton of receptions, but that's something that is a hallmark of Mike Bobo's offense. The ball carriers have to be good receivers out of the backfield.
That's a pickup of 9 for Harris. Now Hill from the 43. That's deflected at the line of scrimmage. A Volunteer gets a hand on it. It'll be 2nd down and 10.
Great job that time by Matthew Butler getting his hands up. And this is something that we're going to talk about all night long for Tennessee. Obviously offensively established the line of scrimmage, but eye discipline for their defense. Play action passes off of the run, something that can make South Carolina very dangerous. Offensively for South Carolina, they have to establish confidence and control the tempo of the game, something they did not do all of 2019.
2nd and 10, Shi Smith with the catch back in the game. And he makes his way up to the 37. Those keys that Stench just gave you, brought to you by Dr. Pepper and Dr. Pepper Fansville, giving fans the keys to the game. Big key tonight is Shi Smith being a part of this offense, but don't want to throw it all night long, Stench. The Gamecocks threw it more than any SEC team last year in the regular season. Got to get the ground game established. Here on the 3rd and 4, what does Coach Bobo call? The Vols 37. Hill stands tall and another strike inside the 20. And it's a first down. Shi Smith already with 3 catches.
It was Shi Smith last year that set the tone for South Carolina's offense. Took the first play to the house. It's just a simple slant. You see him right now working out of the slot. We talked about the weaponry that South Carolina lost. Shi Smith already making his presence felt on this opening possession. And right now, the Tennessee defense very much on their heels with the South Carolina passing game clicking.
In the red zone now, and it's Harris. And Harris gets near the 11 with some hard running. This was a big bugaboo for the Gamecocks last year. They only scored touchdowns 49% of the time when they were inside the 20.
And something that you want to be able to be multiple. You don't want to be married to just the passing game. In the red zone, a condensed field. I think South Carolina's got a chance to be much better simply because Sedarius Hutcherson, their best offensive lineman, has moved back inside at guard, a more physical presence on that interior offensive front, which is exactly where the Gamecocks just ran behind.
2nd and 3 after Harris picked up 7. To him again, trying the left side. 1st and goal, South Carolina.
That time, DeAndre Johnson for Tennessee just loses contain. You can't allow that, especially on the outside as an edge player. Great job by South Carolina, capturing the edge and allowing Kevin Harris to get downhill towards the line of scrimmage on that perimeter run.
Here comes the 10th play of the drive, just 4 minutes in Colin Hill's debut as a Gamecock quarterback. Harris straight ahead, and he'll get maybe half a yard, but great interior push there. Bryce Thompson, the cornerback, came up to help make that tackle.
We're talking with the Tennessee coaching staff. They mentioned how limited they were in practice. They had 25 potential practices in 40 days, only got 21 in. And you have to know that, especially defensively, early on, and we've seen this across college football, tackling, preparation, it's difficult on that side of the ball to prepare. You're facing a new play caller, albeit a familiar one, in Mike Bobo, and what a great opening drive so far for South Carolina.
Toss to Harris. Harris dives, touchdown!
Great effort right at the pylon. Once again, able to get outside. That time Kevin Harris had to do more of the work himself. Wasn't quite as clean on the perimeter, but was able to get downhill and into the end zone. We talk about confidence and control offensively. We just saw it personified in that drive.
Parker White makes it 7-0. What a debut drive for Colin Hill, Kevin Harris, and offensive coordinator Mike Bobo. This football program didn't score a touchdown in its last 2 games. First possession of the season, Kevin Harris to the end zone. Touchdown, Carolina. Kevin Harris had 3 touchdowns in one game against Charleston Southern last season. Kind of burst on the scene as the year went on, and now he's the workhorse, at least through the first drive of the year. Gamecocks up 7-0. Jeter will kick it deep to Bryce Thompson, and Jarrett Garantano said more ups and downs than the Dutton family on Yellowstone. Will take the field for the Tennessee Vols here as they come out to the 25-yard line. This guy has played in 34 games with 25 starts, came off the bench in 3 of the current 6 games that Tennessee has won in a row.
It was quite a high-wire act for Jarrett Garantano a season ago, and for the coaching staff, having to manage where he was mentally. From a confidence standpoint, they are insistent that he is the leader and the quarterback that they need right now in Tennessee.
He goes straight to Ty Chandler, one of the 2 workhorses for Tennessee on offense, and Ty immediately picks up 7. Garantano is the constant at quarterback, but they've lost Jawan Jennings, who had this remarkable turnaround as a senior. What's the identity of Tennessee's offense this year, Stench?
Well, I think if you're Jim Chaney, you just saw it on that first play. Physical, downhill, inside run. You get a flat back, a dump at right guard and center.
Garantano has all kinds of time and throws a strike across the middle up to the 45-yard line, and that's Ramel Keaton with the first reception of the season for Jeremy Pruitt. Now in his 3rd season as the head coach at UT on this 6-game winning streak. A year ago at this time, Tennessee fans are thinking, man, Pruitt's not going to make it. Maybe not make it another week. He just got a contract extension through 2025. Amazing what a difference a 6-game winning streak will make. First down Vols at the 45-yard line, and Chandler gets up near the 49 to pick up the 4.
Jay Graham, new running backs coach at Tennessee. A lot of new faces for Jeremy Pruitt. He gets the extension, brought in some new faces to try to build on that momentum. They need Ty Chandler to be more elusive, play more physically. Nice run there, and his first touch of the game.
Garantano from a clean pocket throws the out ball, and he incomplete. Had his receiver too, Ramel Keaton, wide open, but just overshot him, incomplete.
Shiloh Sanders coming over from safety. Israel Mukwamu, a little bit of miscommunication in the back end. That is a wide open receiver in Ramel Keaton, and just overshot. Garantano early on last season had difficulty pulling the trigger on the open underneath routes and dialing in his downfield throws. Already a missed opportunity downfield there.
Vols were 43% on 3rd down last year. In trouble, Garantano slips out of one guy, but can't out of the next. Big sack for the Gamecocks. J.J. Inigbari forcing the 4th down.
And talking with defensive coordinator Travaris Robinson, they think J.J. Inigbari can be dominant. Not just good, dominant. That time, it was Ernest Jones, usually from an inside linebacker position, that time blocking off the edge to make Garantano flush backwards instead of being able to step up in the pocket where J.J. Inigbari was just waiting for him.
Paxton Brooks will kick it deep to Jamie Robinson. Brooks, the junior from nearby Lexington, South Carolina, and he's lucky there's a whistle. Tonight's referee is Ken Williamson. What a start for the Gamecocks. Then getting a stop on defense.
False start. Offense. 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
You just saw Will Muschamp looking on the sidelines. Will, known to be a defensive mastermind in college football as a coordinator and as a head coach, as his teams have littered the NFL draft. if he can get an offense to complement that defense, South Carolina can make some noise.
That's the piece. That's the dragon that Will Muschamp has yet to slay as a head coach. And it's been somewhat of a revolving door of play callers, a promising opening drive, and as you mentioned, an excellent stop by his defense.
Dribbled back, and Brooks is going to try to throw. In trouble, throws it ahead and up to the 37-yard line. Tennessee with a disastrous start as Brooks is in all kinds of trouble facing pressure, and the Gamecocks have a short field.
We talk about defense, tackling, the inability to practice. And one of the things Jeremy Pruitt mentioned, something he was terrified by, was special teams. A dribbler back there to Brooks. He ends up panicking and stands up, almost trying to complete a pass. I find it hard to believe they would have had anything called on. It's purely a function of that bad deep snap. And you have to wonder how much of this offseason, the preseason prep, will impact this game already in special teams, giving the Gamecocks excellent field position on their second
Illegal
possession.
touching on the offense. The receiver wasn't eligible receiver. That penalty will be declined. Result of the play, first down.
I was going to say, Will Albright, who had the poor snap, was the guy that made that catch. You can't snap it and then catch it. So it's illegal touching. And the Gamecocks are set up with a short field at the Volunteer 38. The mistakes you're seeing from Tennessee speak to what you said, Stinch. A lack of practice time for South Carolina. Hill goes back to Harris again, and Kevin won't get much, if anything, there. It'll be 2nd and 10. Kenneth George on the tackle.
Next to Brooks over there, he's like, hey, listen, man, you got to get your head on straight. I got to get a clean pass back there to me. You're going to get other opportunities. You see this sometimes. He can't afford to have his deep snapper and Albright going in the tank. Looks like it's a pretty stern talking to right there. But also just trying to encourage. There's going to be other punts in this game, especially if the Carolina defense is able to bow its neck the way it did versus that opening possession for Tennessee.
Play clock running down, and Colin Hill is going to burn South Carolina's first timeout.
Timeout, South Carolina. First timeout of the half.
Heck of a start for the guy from South Carolina, for Will Muschamp and the Gamecocks.
SEC Network Football is brought to you by Farm Ridge. Grab a snack.
That is one expensive bird right there. Look at that brand new Gamecock statue outside of Williams-Brice Stadium. Stench looked even scared of it when we came in.
That's an intimidating piece of poultry, man.
Gamecocks are going to be intimidating, Stench, if Will Muschamp can get this offense going. You see his head coaching resume there, 26 and 25 here with the Gamecocks in his 5th season. Now, he was 4-8 last year. That was the overall record. Not that this is anything to brag about, but they were 3-5 in the SEC. They played the hardest schedule in America, if you include that non-conference schedule.
Picked a couple of tough fights, didn't they, Taylor? I mean, you think about it, you pick up Alabama and A&M's, your permanent intra-conference rival.
On a sweep, Shy Smith loses a few yards there, and he'll lose 3. It'll be 2nd and 13. Yeah, North Carolina, App State, Clemson last year all lost to those teams out of conference on top of that 3-5 in-conference record. The good news is you don't have any out-of-conference games. The bad news is you're playing in the toughest conference in America.
That's what Will Muschamp said. They asked him, should I have an asterisk next to this season? He said, yeah, might be one of the best conference teams to ever come out of the SEC, play an all-conference slate like this.
After that great open field tackle by Alante Taylor, Gamecocks are behind schedule. Empty backfield for Hill, who's flushed out, rolls out, throws, and it's incomplete. He's looking down the field for his tight end, Nick Muse, but a flag does come in back near the line of scrimmage.
Holding on the offense, number 54. That penalty will be declined. 4th down.
That's Javon Gwynn, a redshirt sophomore from Charlotte. Hill flushing out of the pocket, though, and running around shows he's confident in that left knee, which he's torn 3 times.
He actually looked pretty good moving right there. But he was the first to admit, look, I'm not a mobile quarterback. He's a pocket player, knows how to get him into and out of the right looks and play calls. That time, a great job by the Tennessee defense to handle a relatively quick change off the special teams mishap. Didn't cede hardly any yards, in fact, pushing back the South Carolina offense.
True freshman Kai Kroger from Lake Forest, Illinois, trying to pooch it deep. Eric Gray calling for the fair catch at the 10-yard line. Boy, what a first day in the SEC it's been. Let's go to the studio in Darinoco. Now that's to be expected, Dar, with the way Alabama has been humming along, and Missouri is in rebuild mode at the moment. But how about what Mississippi State did to the national champion LSU Tigers? Mike Leach makes his debut, winning 44-34 in Baton Rouge today. Garantano flips it ahead on the toss, and up near the 19-yard line goes Velus Jones Jr., transfer from USC.
Speedster. That's a good way to get him a touch early on. Not necessarily in the passing game. You think about Tennessee, a promising drive to open the game that stalled out, and it started with that missed downfield throw. Can Garantano rein it back in?
It is a 10-yard pickup, and it is a pass to Velus for 10 yards and a first down. Garantano throws a traditional pass this time, and it's caught by Keaton, and Keaton turns and moves ahead for 7 yards. What do you make of LSU giving up over 600 passing yards today?
Well, you think their star defender, Derek Stingley, they expected to have him available, was hospitalized overnight, but they're national champions. The program is, a lot of those guys, they weren't out on the football field. Only 5 returning starters without Stingley, only 4 in the matchup today versus Mississippi State.
2nd and 3 on an inside handoff to Gray, and Gray is tackled short of the line to gain. It'll be 3rd and short after a pickup of 1.
South Carolina's going to need to be active along their defensive front. They are grossly undersized. Really not a 300-pounder amongst the starting front. Now right now they got big Zach Pickens in there, who's right at 300 pounds on this 3rd and short.
Garantano time, 1-on-1. Caught! How in the world did Brandon Johnson grab that?
What an effort by Brandon Johnson. 3rd and short, you take a shot. Man-to-man versus the safety of Jamie Robinson. What concentration.
Garantano going quickly, sideline throw, and that's caught, and it's Josh Palmer, who's out of bounds, shy of the 30-yard line, up near the 32. How about going to a guy that hasn't played, only played in a couple games, took a redshirt season last year for the 5th-year senior from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. His dad was a World Series winning catcher for the Florida Marlins. I don't know if he ever made a scoop like that in the dirt.
Yeah, especially with that size glove, right? Looked like he was maybe playing with his old man's mitt.
After a pickup of 9, this a little flea flicker, trickeration, has to dump it off underneath. What a wise move. Eric Gray inside the 15, inside the 5, and he's down just shy of the goal line at the 1. How about the way that Garantano improvised there when nothing was open and the play was breaking down?
You almost feel like a year ago he tries to hang one up and see if he can force it. Instead, checks it down to Gray, who gets it right on the doorstep.
They're going to go quickly. Garantano over the top. Touchdown, Tennessee.
think back to that opening series. Started off promising for Tennessee. You missed the shot downfield to Ramel Keaton. They end up getting stopped, a negative yardage play. A special team snafu, the defense of Tennessee getting the ball back quickly, not giving up any field position, and then the Tennessee offense picking up right where they left off, a couple of explosives. They're able to get downfield. A lot of different balls on offense, getting touches on that drive.
Brent Cimaglia, one of the best in school history, the senior from Nashville, and he ties it up on a big third down throw. Garantano finds Brandon Johnson, and 2 plays later, it's a flea flicker. Garantano can't go down the field and dumps it off to Gray. He puts him on the doorstep, and then Cheney calls Garantano's number for the touchdown. Garantano, through all the ups and downs, has been so accurate. He's found he's 6 of 7 to start the game to 5 different wide receivers, and then he dove over the pile for the touchdown. And maybe you caught what I said there at the end. Of course, he called his own number the last time Tennessee lost to Alabama. This time, Jim Cheney calls his number, and Garantano ties it up. Before that, let's take a look at the 5-star play of the game, brought to you by Yellowwood. What a catch by Brandon Johnson.
Well, you had to wonder, we opened up that drive wondering if Garantano could rein it in, hit a target downfield, and Brandon Johnson helped him out. He laid it out there nicely, makes the gloves catch, and then makes a smart decision. Eric Gray, who was in there to protect initially on the flea flicker, touched the ball first. He ended up touching the ball last. Jarrett Garantano wisely checking it down to him. It was like a flea flicker screen pass in effect, and it worked beautifully.
Back to the ground go the Gamecocks. Kevin Harris is the only tailback we've seen so far, and that is the 7th carry for Kevin. Gets a couple of yards. It'll be 2nd down and 8. Gamecocks have had serviceable tailbacks the last few years. Rico Dowdle, one of the guys, Tavian Feaster, the transfer from Clemson. They need to find a game breaker this year, Stinch. Maybe Kevin Harris is that guy.
They thought they had one in Marshawn Lloyd. He ended up having the knee injury, preseason camp. So far, Kevin Harris, they said he earned it because of his consistency. They can trust him in protection. So far, been pretty productive.
Fake it to him here, play action. Rolling out, backside incomplete as Harris had his back turned to Hill. And it is 3rd and 8. Tonight, it's the premiere of SEC football final, hosted by Dari Noka with Gene Chizik, Chris Doring, and Roman Harper. They'll take you through the biggest stories from the day and break all the games down. It's at 10:30 Eastern, 9:30 Central, right here on SEC Network and the ESPN app. Now, it's at 10:30 Eastern if this game ends at 10:30 Eastern, but it's a little dangerous putting Stinch, Alyssa, and Zarzer on the prime crew because we like to play till the middle of the night. Hill into traffic, throws behind in front of a receiver, Shi Smith. Gamecock faithful want a flag. There's not one down there. It's 4th down.
3rd and 8, South Carolina. But you see Shi Smith again working in the slot. I gotta tell you, there was a lot of contact. I don't know if Shi Smith would have had much of a chance as he tried to play back to that ball. It was behind him from Colin Hill. No flag comes out. Tennessee defense does a good job getting the ball back. Much better field position this time.
Kroger to Gray. Gray fields it at the 27-yard line, and Eric Gray is up near the 45 as South Carolina punts it away to Tennessee as they'll start with pretty good field position. Tennessee, last time they won the SEC East was back in 2007 with Eric Ainge at quarterback and Arian Foster in the backfield. Last year, they won their last 6 games of the season, starting with a victory over the Gamecocks, 41-21. They returned 16 starters from that team, Stinch. Problem is, they need some reps. No matter how much experience they have, they hadn't played enough football in the last 10 months.
Weren't even able to scrimmage, really. Jeremy Pruitt said, yeah, we were able to script a practice. We got about 30 plays in. and he watched it 100 times. He was so excited to get that many reps.
Garantano, 6 of 7 to start the game, throws the deep ball, and he throws over the wrong shoulder to Ramel Keaton, who had a step on the defense. It's incomplete.
Once again, trying to take advantage of the matchup with Jamie Robinson. The defenders, you see him there, a little double move. He goes post corner, and look at him, as you mentioned, just turned his receiver around. Kwame was trying to retrace and help. But we see some shots being taken early by the Tennessee offense. Already 3 plays of 20-plus yards.
Chandler is past midfield, and he gets into Gamecocks territory down near the 46. Set up 3rd and manageable. As the Volunteers, with Jeremy Pruitt as their head coach, try to take the next step this season and contend in the SEC East with the likes of Florida and Georgia. All kinds of time, but a wild throw by Garantano. It's 4th down, looking for Keaton again. Make that Fant, Princeton Fant, the tight end.
Perhaps missing Austin Pope. They lost him to injury. A productive tight end for Tennessee. They had hopes for him coming into the season. Princeton Fant that time wasn't on him. This is just a little bit off from Garantano. You see it? Sails that ball over Fant's hands. They're able to convert on an earlier 3rd down. Took a shot on 3rd and short. This time, couldn't take advantage of the field position.
Matthew Solansky snapped that one. It's a much better one, and a punt that almost was perfect by Paxton Brooks, but it rolls into the end zone, and the Gamecocks will get it at the 20. Let's go down to Alyssa.
Guys, as Tennessee's defense takes the field again, one thing you might notice about number 11, their linebacker, Henry To'o, is that he lost a little bit of weight between last season and this season. He told me this week he was playing around 240 pounds last year, but he wanted to get a little faster, a little quicker on the ball. So he trained 2-3 times a day with Dad. Mom was cooking some healthy meals throughout the offseason. Now he's coming in around 225. He says he feels stronger. He can move a lot faster. And, of course, he's that quarterback of the Tennessee defense, so you like to see that.
Yeah, Alyssa, he's a guy that should be one of the best linebackers in the conference. And immediately one of his buddies hog ties the tailback, Zaquandre White, to the ground. As To'o helped in the backfield there, it's 2nd and long.
It was Tyler Bear, and true freshman did a great job muscling his way into the backfield. And Zaquandre White is the home run hitter. They think he's a guy that can really bring a spark to this rushing attack. Only 20% of the rushing yards generated a year ago returned to the South Carolina roster. White, who started his career at Florida State, comes to South Carolina via JUCO. Banged up a little bit in camp, was slowed by injury, but a guy that they want to get some touches.
2nd and 12, Hill, underneath throw, safe throw to get a good amount of yards, and it's right near a 1st down to Nick Muse. Muse will be marked just shy of the 30-yard line. It'll be 3rd and inches.
You see him quickly to the line and under center.
Hill trying to sneak it ahead, and he does. 1st down, South Carolina.
Wisely sneaks it behind his big left guard, Sadarius Hutcherson. Get under center, get the ball snapped quickly, and that's a quarter, it looks like. Boy, we saw some haymakers early in this one. We thought it was going to be kind of a let's feel you out session, not so much. Special teams, big shots downfield.
They got their sea legs, didn't they?
They did.
And to be expected, a fantastic matchup between South Carolina and Tennessee delivers through a quarter. Tied up at 7 apiece here on SEC Saturday night. A couple of Colorado State Rams in the building tonight. Colin Hill, the graduate, and the former head coach at CSU, Mike Bobo. Stinch's old quarterback with the Dogs in the mid-90s, coming back to the SEC. 14 years as an assistant in Athens, 8 as an offensive coordinator. This guy's called a lot of plays in the Southeastern Conference. Start the 2nd quarter. Colin Hill, 1st and 10, tries to dump it off, and it's batted down, and Hill looks like he caught it off the deflection, and that was a mistake, lost 4 yards.
And you could see it after he did it. It looked like he was saying, oh man, I got to bat that down. A little nervous in the service that time. The first screen pass, a traditional time anyway, not one of these now passes where you throw it out to a receiver quickly. And that's a hallmark of what Bobo likes to do as well. Something that's kind of standard, a staple in his offense. It looked like it had a chance. Good job by the defensive front getting their hands up and disrupting the passing lane.
It's actually a minus 11 reception for Colin Hill off the batted ball. 2nd and 21, and they set up a little quick screen up to the 26 to get a few of those yards to Shi Smith. Now, Shi Smith's been targeted just about every single play. Got to get some other receivers in the action, right?
Absolutely. You know, you think about it, it's backside of the backfield. It's been Shi Smith downfield. Obviously, Nick Hughes on the previous conversion. You go back to Shi Smith. Great job by Kevon Bennett of retracing underneath and making a quick tackle.
Yeah, we talked to Coach Bobo yesterday. We said, who's your second favorite receiver? Who will Collins be? And he said maybe Xavier Legette, but it's kind of a TBD going into the season. 3rd and 16. Hill steps up, throws underneath. It's intercepted off the carom toe. And he stays on his feet to the end zone. Pick 6. One of the best linebackers in the SEC gets his first career interception and takes it to the house.
Well, it was the pressure. Forced Colin Hill up in the pocket. You see right there at left tackle. It's around on the edge, a little bit behind Shi Smith. You always hold your breath as an offense whenever the ball gets tipped up. Colin Hill tried to get over there, tried to make a play. Shi Smith was the one that tried to make the tackle. Colin Hill got blasted as well. What a play by Toe. You could see he was about 15 pounds lighter on that pick 6. Maybe he gets tackled on the 5 when he was at 240.
Daniel Batuli graduating. Toe is the leader of this defense now, and they're just confirming upstairs that he stayed in bounds. Certainly looked like it from here.
Rolling on the field with an interception and return for a touchdown. The previous play is under review.
There's definitely a lot of traffic over there. When Shi Smith tried to walk down Toe before he got choke slammed. I mean, that was a nasty looking stiff arm. So already in this game, when you think about it, a near calamity for Tennessee on special teams and a huge play by the defense. Regardless, they get the ball back, even if right there.
Yeah, it's that last
right
step,
foot.
Stinch, with the right foot, but I don't know how in the world from that angle you can make a change. All right, from this one.
Just advance it a little bit further. It looks like his foot's kind of hanging in the air just there. Where that right foot comes down. Doesn't catch any of the white of the sideline. I don't know. That's tough. It looks like it might. That's really tough. If you had a down the line look, maybe.
Hard to tell. Let's see what they say here upstairs is the official, Brian Murphy, and the crew in Birmingham will take a look at this and make a determination. If it stands, it's his first touchdown. Be a 32-yard pick 6 for the sophomore from Sacramento, California.
After further review, ruling of touchdown on the field stands.
Yeah. It's like you said, Taylor. I mean, it's got to be indisputable. It was ruled as a touchdown on the field. What a great play by Toe. Top returning tackler, reshaped his physique over the offseason, as Alyssa documented earlier. Makes a nice play on the ball. They're trying to get the ball back to Shi Smith. He ends up going the other direction.
Now the extra point for Samaglia. And the Vols are up 14-7. Well, Colin Hill wanted to come home and play in the SEC. You better get ready for pressure like this. Feeling it around the edge. It tries to dump it off. And Henry, Moses, Ito, Yese, toe to the house.
Welcome back to Columbia, South Carolina. Tennessee leading Carolina 14-7 after that Henry To'o pick six, guys. These two teams have played each other pretty close. 7 of the last 8 matchups decided by 6 points or less. And yeah, it's getting competitive out there on all sides of the ball, every single guy. It's some talking. There's some chippiness going on. There's some talking into each other's face masks. Stinch, I know you like that.
Man alive, I have missed this. Let's take a look at Winning with Style, brought to you by Belk.
When you look at this game and the way that it is ultimately unfolding, started out hot for South Carolina, but so far, what has swung the momentum in Tennessee's favor has been their defense. Defense slowing down South Carolina offensively, forcing a couple of 3-and-outs, and now a pick six. The Gamecocks offense have got to get it figured out. They opened the game with an authoritative drive, 11 plays for 75 yards, and nothing since.
Yeah, really nothing since. Zaquandre White with the carry, the junior from Cape Coral, Florida. He's had some hamstring issues in camp. Started his career at Florida State. Was a linebacker for a while, and now is back at tailback. It's going to be interesting as the season continues with all the issues that all of us are facing, especially these football programs. If anybody's going to be asked to play both ways at some point, if you're a running back and you're a linebacker, due to depth problems, have to have at least 53 to play in an SEC game, and both teams have that tonight. Quick slant, there's Shi Smith. Worked well in the first drive, and Colin Hill with a first down strike up to the 46.
You nailed it, Taylor. That's exactly right. That's where they were able to hit Shi Smith on their opening possession. Read it, read that space defender. If he collapses, stab one in there to Shi Smith. It's obvious that they are going to be intent on getting number 13 touches. So far, 8 catches for number 13.
8 targets, yeah, so far. Like you're saying, they're just going to him on a play-by-play basis. 19-yard reception for Shi, the senior from Union, South Carolina. And this is Zaquandre White again, keeping those legs churning past midfield into Volunteer territory.
See South Carolina committed to that ground game, staying with it, a lot of first down runs. That time able to pull a couple of linemen on the right side. Big Javon Gwynn able to get out in front. They're creating angles at the point of attack to try to get a clean entry for their running backs. Haven't seen that the past couple of series.
2nd and 4 after that 6-yard pickup. Hill still with 5 on the play clock. Takes it out of White's belly, keeps it himself, and there's almost nothing doing. Hill's not going to be much of a running threat. And we did ask him yesterday, what kind of trust do you have in that knee after tearing his ACL 3 times? And he said, I have plenty. I went through some markers in August and some scrimmages, and am confident on it. On a 3rd down, he's under all kinds of duress, and he gets bum rushed by that Volunteer defense. DeAndre Johnson has been there several times, and he gets home there.
That time it looked like he had an opportunity downfield over the middle. He pulls it down. He was working the left side of the formation. You see, comes off it on the right side. Looked like he had Josh Vann right over the middle, right over the ball. More of a coverage sack that time. Held on to the football and allowed DeAndre Johnson, who was the one that applied the pressure on that pick six.
And another Gamecock drive. Stench breaks down. Yeah. Kroger, another punt. That's a good one. Fair caught by Gray at the 16-yard line. Volunteers with the football and on top.
I think the biggest thing for me is, during the protests that I had recently, I've had numerous amount of people come up to me saying, hey, man, what you said was great. It inspired me. we're not here for pity. We're not here for sorrow. We don't want you feeling bad, remorseful for it. We just want respect, equality, and justice. That's all we want. That's all we ever want.
Right, Trey.
You changed my day. You changed my life, man. The words you express. And for me, that's a win.
Guys, Trey Smith, one of those guys who's looked at as one of the leaders on this Tennessee team, and he's been that way for the last several seasons. I think he told us last year that he eventually would love a career in broadcasting, and you can just tell by the way he carries himself, not only on the field but off the field, that whatever he says it with a purpose, and he really has a way of getting guys to rally behind him. Pruitt's called him a leader, and every single one of his teammates say the same.
He's a true hero as Eric Gray runs behind him up near the 20-yard line. He might be the best guard in all of college football, but he certainly is one of the more brilliant minds we've ever seen and had the pleasure of getting to know that's played college football.
Yeah, he's so fun to be around and even more fun to watch play this game. But you can see that there's a lot more to this young man than just his prodigious football talent, and it is pretty extensive. He's been one of the best offensive linemen in the country.
2nd and 8, that's an underneath throw, and it's caught up at the 28-yard line, and that's Josh Palmer. It'll be 3rd and short. This goes both ways, though, for both teams who are fighting. All of us are fighting with this social justice at the moment, but J.C. Horn, we asked him about it, and he said football is an example of what society should look like. What a great quote. He said, we don't see black and white with the Gamecocks. We see a brotherhood. It's a 1st down throw to Palmer on that last play, and Gray is swallowed in the backfield. It'll be a loss of a couple at 2nd down.
I couldn't agree more with what J.C. Horn shared as well. And you can see that they're out there working together. You see Jordan Birch on the field now, a new member of that brotherhood at South Carolina. And Jamie Robinson, who's been picked on a little bit in coverage, who came up with that negative yardage play to knock the Tennessee offense off schedule.
Birch, one of the highest touted recruits the Gamecocks have ever had. 2nd and 13. Nice strike up near the 35-yard line as Princeton Fant makes the catch. It'll be 3rd and manageable for the Vols.
See South Carolina defensively. We talked about their size up front, that disadvantage. Depth is another question as well. You see Tennessee, the longer they move the football, possess the football, from a depth standpoint, it's not just size. Are they able to start leaning on those undersized defensive tackles along the front?
Garantano all kinds of time, but throws behind his receiver. It's incomplete as he was looking for true freshman Jalen Hyatt. It's 4th down, but here comes a flag. He's thrown very late.
It was R.J. Roderick that made it over there right as Jalen Hyatt was reaching the football. But this flag thrown back towards where the pocket was in the line of scrimmage.
After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct, defense number 52. 15-yard penalty from the succeeding spot, automatic 1st down. That's number 52's first unsportsmanlike conduct foul of the game.
And just a devastating mistake by J.J. Enigbari.
Those are the worst penalties. There's a reason why they call it a personal foul. It's a selfish play, and you end up impacting your entire team. So there's a chance to get a stop. Your team's reeling a little bit off a pick 6. You're just about to get the ball back to your offense, and instead you commit a personal foul. You see Enigbari still on the sideline. I bet he's going to hear about that from D-line coach Tracy Rocker.
So, Tennessee in Gamecocks territory, just on the other side of the 50. Garantano throws near the sideline. This one caught. It's a short pickup by Palmer, the senior from Ontario, Canada. It'll be 2nd down. That just takes all of the steam out of what South Carolina just achieved defensively.
Well, you get the negative yardage play, you force them behind the down and distance, and then you let the offense out of the trap. Give them a free first down and the 15 yards.
2nd and 6. Vols at the Gamecock 45 midway through this second quarter. Ty Chandler, really nothing to get there. It'll be 3rd down, and Enigbari playing with a passion even through that personal foul.
You can see him, he's put together a good game. He's made some plays along that line of scrimmage. We talk about size, they're making up for it. Very active. Can they affect Garantano as a passer? Where's Aaron Sterling? Enigbari as well. Can they collapse the edges? Sterling towards the top of your screen, Enigbari with his hand on the ground nearest.
Garantano, 3rd and 6, some miscommunication with his receiver Keaton, and it's 4th down.
That time, a great job by R.J. Roderick. Picking his way on the pressure, got right in the face of Jarrett Garantano. So that time, Tavares Robinson said, I'm going to bring a zone pressure. They dropped Aaron Sterling, and they brought the pressure right in the middle. And Alyssa Lang was right early. It is chippy. There's conversation after every single snap.
Played football, and at least in Tennessee's case, in 9 months. In South Carolina's over 10. Good punt, and at the 4-yard line, it's fielded by Jamie Robinson. Tennessee and Paxton Brooks have pinned the Gamecocks deep.
A 10-game conference-only schedule that includes 4 non-divisional opponents with 4 new head coaches.
A lot of changes in the SEC with all these new head coaches. One of those, Mike Leach, pulling off the upset in Baton Rouge earlier today, as the Gamecocks will start in the shadow of their own end zone. And Kevin Harris standing in his own end zone with Colin Hill under center on this 1st and 10. Gamecocks down 7 with the football. And Harris finds a little breathing room and gets up to the 9-yard line. So you have that upset with Mike Leach winning today. K-State knocks off Oklahoma. I got a feeling we're going to see plenty of that this year.
Yeah, I think this is, it's probably not going to be the prettiest football you've ever seen in the world, but it might be the most interesting, that's for sure, because of the upsets, because of the potential for parity, where you've got some of these teams that might be more talented, but they might not be as ready when it comes to game time. So you might see some teams like a K-State that's already stubbed its toe this season rise up, knock off one of the college football playoff contenders in Oklahoma.
Harris tries to bounce it out, but Volunteers are all over him. Those white with shirts with orange numbers flying to the football. Kenneth George part of the tackle, 3rd down.
So far, I think Tennessee's done an excellent job slowing down South Carolina on the ground. They know that once that gets going, if they can get that going, it's a long night. And so far, the Tennessee defense has done a stellar job. When you look at the way they have been able to adjust outside of that opening series.
Now 3rd and 5. Hill tries to find a receiver, and it's caught by Muse up at the 14-yard line.
Great effort by Nick Muse. Does he come up with this ball? Looks like he does. Well placed pitch and catch that time by Colin Hill. Nick Muse now with a couple of 1st down catches, able to extend this drive, and certainly for South Carolina, for field position only. But the other piece of it too is find a way to possess this football, allow your defense to catch its breath a bit.
Hill in his debut for the Gamecocks, 85 yards throwing the football so far. Harris somehow got out of trouble there. made something out of nothing. It'll be second down.
Kevin Harris has got a little bit of more shape than I gave him credit. Thought he was more of just kind of a one-cut runner, physical guy trying to finish. That time able to make Tyler Barron miss in space. We saw that on his touchdown run as well. Able to kind of bring his own block, shake defenders in an open field.
Pick up a 3 for the sophomore. Clock down to almost 4 minutes left in this first half. Hill stands tall and tries to throw it into traffic, and Alontae Taylor says no, sir. Third down.
Colin Hill on the ground again. Kevon Bennett this time was able to get there late. He wins. Dylan Wanham at left tackle. He's had his hands full. You wondered about that Tennessee pass rush without Taylor. A second-round pick to the Seahawks. One of the top sack men from a season ago for Tennessee off the edge.
3rd and 7. Gamecocks 3 of 7 on this down. Hill in trouble and has no place to go. Tennessee all over Colin Hill in the backfield there. Danico Slaughter, the true freshman, gets credit for that sack.
That time, as you see Slaughter, number 18, comes right off the edge, cheated inside. At that time, they're just late adjusting up front. Had blockers, but just didn't respond quickly with Vershawn Lee, the freshman, at right tackle.
Already Kai Kroger's 4th punt here in the first half, and this one will be downed at the 44-yard line. A short punt, giving Tennessee the football in Gamecocks territory with the lead. Dar, looks like it's Dodger season on your face right now after what happened to Boomer Sooner earlier today. K-State, shocking upset. Garantano rolling out, has a wide open receiver, and he throws way behind Keaton, incomplete.
All night, he's had a hard time putting it on Keaton. Turned him around a couple of times. That time the ball behind him, largely because of the pressure. R.J. Roderick got in the backfield once again quickly. Made Garantano throw that somewhat off balance, falling backwards on the boot.
Gray in the backfield on a 2nd and 10 in this pistol set. And Eric tries the right side, and he'll get a few up near the 42. Saturday is here, and it's time to represent your school. Show us how big you're going today. Submit your best fan video this weekend to #ShowYourSaturday, and you might just get your 15 seconds of fan fame. Maybe Alyssa will put it on her new show on Saturday morning.
That's right. Yeah, that's a good question.
Out of Pocket made its debut this morning at 9:30. We had the fam all huddled up watching. 3rd and 6 for Tennessee from the Gamecock 42.
See, South Carolina brings pressure. Last time they dropped the defensive end and brought pressure right up the middle. No, just 4.
Garantano standing up, but now he's down. And the ball was jarred out for a second. J.J. Enigbari gets home with Aaron Sterling also applying some pressure. Tennessee has to punt.
On the previous 3rd down, we wondered, where's Aaron Sterling? We've talked about J.J. Enigbari. That time, Garantano held on to the football. It collapsed. Both edge rushers getting to the passer of Tennessee. They've been able to affect him twice now. Past 2 3rd downs. That's been the difference. Last time on a zone blitz, this time just with their down 4 rushing off the edge.
So another punt for Brooks. And a fair catch called at the 15-yard line by Jamie Robinson. Next Saturday, we'll have another full slate of college football games right here on the SEC Network. Mizzou and These Tennessee Volunteers will kick things off at noon Eastern time. Then we've got number 23 Kentucky hosting Ole Miss, and it's 7:30 Eastern. LSU is going to drop in the rankings. We'll play the Vanderbilt Commodores in our SEC Saturday night matchup. SEC Network alternate channel also has a game, Arkansas and Mississippi State. Speaking of those Vanderbilt Commodores, they're giving the Aggies a game through that first half over in College Station on the alternate channel. 7-5. Aggies leading Vandy near the half.
It's like the Georgia-Arkansas score.
Somebody hit a 3-run homer. Colin Hill, another underneath throw, and he finally finds another receiver. This is Xavier Leggett, the sophomore from Mullen, South Carolina, for a minimal gain at second down.
There's the screen game. Thought we might have seen it on that previous third down just to try to capture some yards. Instead, Colin Hill went down with the sack. It's a tunnel screen, though. Your offensive linemen have to release, get upfield, get a hat on a hat. Tennessee has done a good job so far versus South Carolina in their screen attempts. A batted ball and a well played on that one.
2nd and 10, handoff past the 25 and up near the 29-yard line goes Shi Smith. A little misdirection there from Coach Bobo, and it yields a first down.
Lined him kind of hipped off right there in the wing. A little tap pass to Shi Smith. Another way to get him a touch. He's certainly been targeted in the passing game.
Gamecocks got to go quick, under a minute left in the half, and that's not going to do it. Shi Smith maybe gets half a yard. Clock running. Gamecocks have 2 timeouts. Only 40 seconds and counting.
No urgency. See that? They look like they're content to try to play for half.
Hill loses the football. The Volunteers jump on it. Elijah Simmons. Looks like he dropped the football. He dove on it, but somehow didn't get it. And they're just going to let the clock run out after dodging a disaster.
It's DeAndre Johnson again, though. What a great job once again by DeAndre Johnson. They're probably playing for half anyway. South Carolina lucky to be able to just run out the clock and end this first half.
Somehow Eric Douglas, the center, was able to get on that after Simmons could not corral it. And the Volunteers take a 14-7 lead into the break. Gamecocks score on their first drive, and then it was ugly after that. Let's go down to Alyssa.
Hey, Coach, a lot of good pressure from your defense early on. Working through this interview. Coach, a lot of good pressure from your defense early on. What was working for you guys?
Well, we didn't start the game the way we wanted to. You know, they had a great drive to start with, converted some third downs. But we have developed a little bit of pressure as the game has went. Got to create some turnovers and get off the field on third down.
Really nice first possession for Jarrett Garantano. What do you have to do that again in the second half?
I don't know what you said, but I think it's something about our offense. Offensively, we're not playing like we need to play. We need to be more physical, need to be aggressive, need to throw the ball down the field, and sustain blocks. You know, we had an error on special teams there. Luckily, we didn't give up a score there.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Okay, Jeremy Pruitt at half, up 14-7. All of us facing challenges. These teams are too, but we're playing college football. That's what matters, and the Volunteers lead the Gamecocks 14-7. Dari, Coach Chiz, and CD have the halftime report for you coming up next. Tennessee Volunteers carry a 14-7 lead into the second half. South Carolina started like gangbusters in that first drive of the game, but since then, Tennessee's had a couple of big plays and a pick six.
Yeah, when you look at the way the defense for Tennessee really stepped up, and obviously offensively able to hit one big shot down to Brandon Johnson to set up what ended up being a flea flicker, that ended up being a check down, ended up being a big explosive play. Otherwise, both offenses kind of struggling a little bit. Certainly in the run game, both averaging less than 2 yards on the ground.
And we'll go to the second half with Tennessee carrying this 14-7 lead. First half stats brought to you by Zaxby's. Not a whole lot to write home about. Time of possession, South Carolina has dominated it, but again, it's that pick six by Henry To'oTo'o that has given Tennessee the lead, and they get the football to start the second half. Just great to have college football back. Great to be back in the Southeastern Conference. Already some upsets. LSU hadn't lost a football game since that 7 OT game against Texas A&M 2 seasons ago. Went down to Mike Leach and Mississippi State earlier today. From the goal line, Velus Jones Jr., and he's past the 25 down to the 26. Let's go down to Alyssa.
Guys, I caught up with Coach Muschamp coming out of halftime, and I asked him what he needs to do as far as this offense and getting a little less pressure on Colin Hill. He said, yeah, we got to do a better job of protecting him. Taylor, you mentioned the time of possession. I asked him defensively what's he's liked so far, and he said he's pretty pleased with the defensive performance, specifically the time that they've spent on the field, their ability to get on and get the ball back to the offense.
That has clearly been something to write home about. The defense has played strong for South Carolina, but have not been able to get any kind of rhythm with Colin Hill in that offense since that first drive. Gamecock defense on the field, fighting against Ty Chandler, and Chandler takes it ahead to the 34-yard line. It'll be a pickup of 8 for the Volunteer tailback.
You see Tennessee trying to establish tempo now. Big gainer, quick to the line.
And right back to Chandler. First down Vols, and he's up near the 40-yard line. Senior from Nashville has been the leading rusher the last 2 seasons for Jeremy Pruitt.
Can't emphasize enough that time of possession and what it means. We talk about the size. No big Javon Kinlaw in the center of that South Carolina front.
Once, twice, how about a third time for Chandler? Pickup of 4. Jarrett Garantano in the first half. 9 of 15, 125 yards passing. Second and 6 for the 5th-year senior from New Jersey. There's plenty of time, and he throws a first down strike into Gamecocks territory to Josh Palmer.
Coming into this game, we thought Josh Palmer would probably figure more prominently than he has so far in this game. He's got all his targets that have come his way. Garantano with time, nice clean pocket.
10 yards, and now Chandler with a wide open space in front of him. How about that push from the left side of the line? That's a first down run.
Impressed with Ty Chandler so far this season. You see a late substitution there. Wanye Morris running in for Jameer Johnson, who limps off. That was a quick substitution. You must have seen him limping a little bit.
Jameer feeling his right hamstring as Chandler fighting hard. Already his 5th carry on this drive. Gets down inside the 32. Helmet comes off for a Gamecock. Ernest Jones, middle linebacker, will have to come out of play.
Jameer Johnson trying to work through something on the sideline there. Looks like a lower body injury of some type, and they'd enjoyed success running behind the left side. It's Trey Smith's side, Johnson's side on that side of the offensive front.
All kinds of time again. Garantano flushed out. First down inside the 20. High steps it inside the 15, and it'll be marked out of bounds near the 12-yard line.
It's kind of an underappreciated element of Garantano's game. There's not a lot of called QB runs. But watch Trey Smith go help Wanye Morris. Finish, and J.J. Enigbare, and Garantano takes the hole.
20-yard pickup for him, and then Chandler, touchdown, Tennessee. Eric Gray with the touchdown, replacing Chandler, and Gray finishes off an impressive first drive for the Volunteers in the second half.
Going into halftime, Coach Pruitt said we want some more explosives on offense. Need to be more physical up front. They did that on this drive. Most of it on the ground. Jarrett Garantano contributing. Ty Chandler doing most of the work. It was like Charlie Garner and James Littleman Stewart all over again for the Vols fans out there. Eric Gray gets to finish off the drive, gets the touchdown. Chandler got him down there.
Maglia finishes it off with another extra point. It was Chandler 5 times. It was Garantano for 20. And then Eric Gray, how about you come in for a play? 12-yard touchdown run for the sophomore from Memphis. All volunteers at the moment. For every field goal and extra point made by participating universities, All-State will make a contribution to the university's general scholarship fund. Love their participation with this great sport. Tennessee, what a drive that was to come out of the half. 21-7, Vols ranked 16th in the country with this current 6-game winning streak. Up 2 touchdowns on the Gamecocks. South Carolina will start at the 25. Where can Mike Bobo find some offense here? First drive of the game, Colin Hill and the Gamecocks gashed the balls all the way down the field since then. Nothing to write home about.
Yeah, first down efficiency has got to get better. They've got to get some positive yards on first down to open things up on second. Try to avoid those thirds, obviously, but get the third manageable. You've got to open up those possessions and new sets of downs more effectively. And right now, that line of scrimmage, the best offensive line under Will Muschamp has to assert itself much better here in the second half.
Kevin Harris was the guy that started the game on a great drive. Zaquandre White in the backfield now. Hill tries the deep ball, and it's caught. What a catch made, bound by Xavier Leggett. And Leggett down near the 40-yard line, inside the 40, they'll mark it. Down near the, see, they'll spot it at the 33. What a grab.
Well, you mentioned it in the first half. Who do they like at receiver other than Shi Smith? Leggett was the guy they brought up. He's got some length, did a great job of playing that ball in the air. A little bit underthrown. He fought through some of that hand fighting to come up with a huge reception.
42 yards on the catch. White following a fullback, yes, a fullback, down inside the 27-yard line. Welcome back to the 1990s. Adam Prentice, another transfer from Colorado State, the lead blocker there for White.
That's right. Don't adjust your television sets. That's not an illegal formation. That's a fullback that's lined up in front of the ball carrier, and Adam Prentice, physical presence. And this is something the Gamecocks fans were used to when Marcus Lattimore and Patrick DeMarco were in the offensive backfield.
On second down, White again tries some little misdirection, and it's not going to work. What a good job by Tyler Barron, the true freshman, holding on for dear life to the legs of White and bringing him to the ground for a loss.
Well, it doesn't matter how many backs you've got in the backfield when you get a lookout block by your tight end on the backside. You can't just tag him and try to climb up. Some confusion, clearly. Nick Muse working outside to Alante Taylor. Meanwhile, Barron is practically lined up in the Carolina backfield. So right when they start getting some momentum, you get the big play, a decent run behind the fullback, and then stymied on that run.
Hill, first down strike inside the 5 to the end zone. Touchdown, Shi Smith.
A matchup that Mike Bobo wanted. Working against Danico Slaughter, he got a pressure right before half, but versus Shi Smith, who has proven to be one of the more dangerous weapons in the slot, and it's 6 for South Carolina.
Parker White with the extra point. Will Muschamp and the Gamecock faithful have been clamoring for some offense. They find it with Shi Smith on a 29-yard touchdown reception on a 4-play drive. Shi over 100 yards receiving on the night, and the Gamecocks back in it. We've seen some offense here. Mahomes and Lamar would be proud of the way these two have started the second half. And yeah, they're still dancing around here at Williams-Brice Stadium for some college football on a Saturday night. Velus Jones from the 3. This guy can fly past the 40 and out near the 43 for the product from Saraland, Alabama, by way of Southern California.
Big Trey Smith. We talked about him earlier. The guy that announced he was going to return to Tennessee. Probably one of the biggest announcements since Peyton Manning decided he was going to come back. In fact, he used the same wording. And where did they build that last drive? They built it on the left side. He's out there boloing jokers and pass pro, covering him up at the line of scrimmage, bouncing them back into the secondary. Ever since he was a freshman. And it's not just that he's talented, he's aggressive. The way he finishes, I can remember watching him his freshman year versus Alabama. You see him joking around with T. Martin, the Tennessee greats. So physical at left guard. Finishes well, good in both phases. As you see, it looks like Sherrod Green was shaken up on that play on kickoff cover. Starting linebacker for the South Carolina defense. And a defense that needs to find some answers after that first opening drive here in the second half, where Tennessee went right down the field. 7 runs, 1 pass. Mostly Ty Chandler and a little bit of Eric Gray at the end.
How about T. Martin coming over from USC to Tennessee before last season, back to his alma mater? Says, hey, Velus Jones, how about you show up in Knoxville?
Yeah.
The speedster's made a difference on kick returns so far tonight, giving the Vols good field position out near midfield. Garantano fakes the toss ahead, does throw it ahead, and it's Velus Jones again, and he is out near midfield. T. Martin's from the Mobile area, like Jones is. They've known each other forever. Came all the way out to LA to play for the Trojans and now transfers to Tennessee.
That makes sense. See the country in the process.
Yeah.
Boomerang your way back over here to the East Coast.
6 yards on the play. Garantano with a nice strike across the middle. First down inside the 40, down to the 38. And he's maybe found a new favorite man there, Mr. Jones.
Off the tap pass, we've seen a couple of those, and now quick slant, similar to the plays we've seen South Carolina have.
Tennessee is humming, and it's Gray, and he gets near the 30-yard line. Both offenses are moving it at will here in the third quarter.
Yeah, right now, South Carolina defensively very much on their heels, and Tennessee dictating the tempo.
Gray tries to bounce it outside. He eludes one, but can't elude the next one, as he'll be tackled there by Zach Pickens, the sophomore from Anderson, South Carolina.
He came in there and cleaned it up, and it was Jalen Dickerson who got back in there first. Made Eric Gray kind of bubble his run. As soon as they get off of that track, allowed big Zach Pickens to work down the line of scrimmage just in time, too. Because as you mentioned, Tennessee is starting to spool up that tempo.
That Brandon Johnson catch is the only time Tennessee's converted on a third down tonight, and they won't get it here. J.J. Enagbari on the tackle of Gray, 4th down.
Well, you can see why Travaris Robinson, defensive coordinator for South Carolina, is so excited about this young man. Had the personal foul in the first half. That's been the lone blemish. Otherwise, he has been a difference maker for this South Carolina defense. A big stop to slow down the Tennessee offense and force this kick.
Just around the 47-yard line for Brent Samaglia, officially a 46-yard attempt. And Samaglia's kick is wide left.
I wonder if Samaglia who's pretty automatic. He's hit some game winners in this series, may get another chance yet. Got a little pressure. South Carolina was able to slip somebody through. And Samaglia pulls it left. South Carolina defense stands up.
Back here in Columbia, Gamecocks dodging a bullet. Almost got a blocked kick on the Samaglia missed field goal. Have the football at their own 29. Colin Hill has all day to throw. Wants to throw the deep ball to Smith, and Shi Smith can't make the grab there in one-on-one coverage with Kenneth George. It's second down.
And moving Shi Smith around, but you mentioned it. Gamecocks, watch J.J. Enigbari right in the middle of your screen, 52. He affected Samaglia. He sees that color. He's got to, at the corner of his eye, that jersey flashing right in his field of vision. It has to impact the place kicker, especially one as consistent as Samaglia. A huge play by Enigbari once again.
Tennessee coming after Hill. They pick up the pressure, and that catch is made sitting down on a slide there by Nick Muse. It's a first down for the Gamecocks. The senior tight end from Belmont, North Carolina, has been hampered by injuries throughout his career at William & Mary and at South Carolina. Gives the Gamecocks a fresh set of downs. Sean Fenwick in the game. They fake it to him. Hill flushed out, and he throws it away. But impressive to see the wheels there from a guy who's had those 3 ACL injuries.
You're not kidding. And you know what? Fearless. You mentioned it earlier. Is Colin Hill, is he worried at all about that knee? He doesn't play like it. He's got a big brace on his left knee. As you mentioned, 3 ACL injuries in his college career. Only played 3 games last year, injured versus Arkansas on a low hit, and he fought his way back. In fact, Nick Muse, who he's found a couple of times for conversions in this game, had marveled to Coach Muschamp. He's only come back from 1 ACL. He can't imagine coming back from 3. The toughness of number 15 stands out.
And he throws again, and the laser into Tennessee territory. Muse spins down to the 37-yard line.
Offensive coordinator Mike Bobo said he wanted to get a matchup on number 27, Quavaris Crouch. Last year, Crouch played a little bit of running back, rushed off the edge. This year, he's being asked to play inside linebacker, in coverage, confused, and Muse was wide open over the middle of that Tennessee defense, an area that South Carolina has been attacking with a lot of efficiency.
20 yards from Muse. He has 5 catches and 50 yards. And the handoff goes to Fenwick. Now the fake nails to Shi Smith on the other end. And a nice job of misdirecting everybody there. Faking to Fenwick, not even looking at Shi Smith.
Nice play action fake, boots him out. So you get out of that pocket. The protection hasn't been great all night, but you're in the eye. So it's a heavy run look, and it's easier to leak Shi Smith out. Alante Taylor with the shot, but not until Shi Smith got the first down.
And another first down with Hill, and leading his receiver too far in front. It's incomplete. He was looking for Rico Powers, true freshman from Atlanta.
That time Jeremy Banks was in the Carolina backfield, linebacker for Tennessee. Another converted running back. Got some carries, saw some offense under Jeremy Pruitt, has made that transition to linebacker. We talk about players having to play 2 ways. These guys making the transition from offense to defense somewhat permanently.
Ernest, the fullback. Fenwick, the tailback. And Deshaun has no place to go. It'll be 3rd and long for South Carolina as Alante Taylor has been all over the field for the Vols tonight.
You can line up in these heavy run sets, but you got to get push up front. Really poorly blocked that time by South Carolina. The line of scrimmage just moved backwards. Nowhere to go with that football as the ball carrier with Deshaun Fenwick. A good job by Tennessee of moving the line of scrimmage.
3rd and 10 for the Gamecocks. And it's a clean catch inside the 15, down inside the 10 for Deshaun Fenwick out of the backfield.
We talked about running backs. Can't just be running backs in this offense. They have to protect. They have to be receivers. And Fenwick, we talked about it, didn't get a lot of running room last time. Crossing pattern, once again, stretching that Tennessee defense, especially over the middle. They're underneath defenders. Fenwick able to get a step and a big gainer to put the Gamecocks inside the 10.
20-yard catch for Fenwick, now standing next to Hill in the backfield. Collin looks his way again. Fenwick makes a man miss, dives, and they're going to mark him short just inside the 1.
Check Fenwick's knee, as he definitely stretches this football towards the goal line. Great effort. South Carolina decided to go quickly, ran a Q sneak.
Collin Hill, no ending. Now there's one. Touchdown Gamecocks.
You think number 15 for South Carolina is fired up? Out there jumping around on that rebuild ACL. Deshaun Fenwick, excellent individual effort. Nearly got it in the end zone. May have. South Carolina said, forget it. Let's not wait on a review. Let's just get it in and leave no doubt. A little bit of delay, but eventually those hands go up. How about these offenses here in the second half?
Well, they're going to look for confirmation up here. Hard to see anything there.
I mean,
assuming it stands, Stinch, that's a 10-play, 71-yard drive to start the half, and then a 4-play, 75-yard on top of it for South Carolina in their first 2 drives of the second half. Parker White makes the extra point, and we've got a brand new ball game with 4:32 to go in the third quarter.
Well, what was the story of the first half? Defense, mainly. We come out here in the second half, all of a sudden the offenses look unstoppable. Did a great job, both these play callers coming out. Obviously Tennessee establishing that ground game, South Carolina mixing it up. But they were able to attack the middle of the field. They got some matchups that they liked, a couple of matchups versus linebackers in coverage, and it's paid off big for the Carolina offense. Able to pick up some big gainers and then finally punch it in. Same end zone that they started off with in the first quarter.
Next Saturday, we have another full slate of college football games right here on the SEC Network. It's Mizzou and these Tennessee Volunteers kicking things off at noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central. Then Kentucky host Ole Miss. That's at 4. And at 7:30 Eastern, it's LSU, fresh off the loss to Mississippi State, against the Vanderbilt Commodores in our SEC Saturday night matchup. The SEC Network alternate channel also has a game, Arkansas and Mississippi State. We are loaded with conference matchups exclusively here all season long. It's a fan and a broadcaster's dream.
That's right.
For a conference-only slate.
Coaches don't seem too thrilled about it. We're sitting there going, wow, man, this is a tough slate. Well, that last drive, J.J. Enigbari did a great job of making the pocket collapse, influencing this offense, negative yardage plays, forced the missed field goal. Can the Carolina defense get another stop, or does Tennessee pick up where they started this half?
Garantano looking for some time, and he throws a good one out of the backfield. It's bobbled and caught by Ty Chandler, and Ty moves ahead to the 35-yard line. It's enough for a first down.
Ty Chandler is having himself a night. been very effective. Not eye-popping numbers, but has been very efficient out of the backfield for Tennessee.
Fake the handoff to him. Garantano goes to Palmer. He turns and makes a man miss. He's into Gamecock territory and out of bounds up near the 45-yard line.
Josh Palmer, just so strong. Spun right out of the would-be tackle of Cam Smith. Easy completion. It's the yards after the catch. They got a lot of that last year out of Jawan Jennings.
20-yard pickup for Palmer, back to the ground, and Ty Chandler gets near the 40-yard line. All of a sudden, both offenses moving the football at will. Tennessee didn't score on their second drive, but after missing a field goal, but they've been in Gamecock territory all 3 times they've had the football in this quarter.
2nd and 5 plus territory. Maybe a shot right here if you're Jim Chaney.
Here it is. And it's a first down throw, as sitting down and catching that is Brandon Johnson.
After that circus catch on their first scoring drive, Brandon Johnson kind of quiet. Hasn't been targeted. That time, though, able to move the sticks.
Gray in, Chandler out. Garantano to the sideline, all kinds of traffic, and here comes the flag. Ramel Keaton got tangled up over there on the sideline with Cam Smith.
I mean, he and Cam Smith, they were probably 6 yards off the field into the out of bounds. Watch this, Cam Smith and Ramel Keaton. And Cam Smith just throws him out of bounds.
Defense number 9. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
It's an easy call. I mean, it's you stiff arm him off of the field and then throw him onto the ground. And Cam Smith couldn't make the open field tackle earlier on Josh Palmer. And that time called for the PI.
Tennessee has it at the Gamecock 15-yard line in a tie game, approaching the end of the third quarter. Gray next to Garantano. Throws to the end zone, incomplete. Good coverage down there by Jamie Robinson on Bayless Jones Jr.
Well, we've seen Tennessee try to attack Jamie Robinson and had success in the first half. And both of them fighting for space on that football. Well defended that time by Jamie Robinson. That ball just a little too much distance on it from Garantano.
Tennessee was terrible scoring touchdowns in the red zone last year, just 48% of the time. Garantano fakes it and keeps it down near the 10. It'll be third down from there.
A couple of nice moves from Garantano. Looking a little Lamar Jackson-ish on that one with the stop and cut.
But tonight, they've been much better, scoring touchdowns each of the 2 times they've been here. Can they make it a third time on this 3rd and 6? And you would never know that they have to social distance in this stadium with as loud as it is right now. Garantano strike across the middle, incomplete, throwing a laser beam that Brandon Johnson can't make the catch on. 4th down.
It's too much heat on that one. Has a tight window, things happen quick, bang, bang in the red zone. If he puts it on Brandon Johnson, he's got a chance right there. He's got the first down regardless. Just couldn't quite put it on him.
Wasn't a strike, it was a ball outside.
That's right, but it had heat on it, no doubt.
Yeah, take your base. Now Samaglia to try to get back on track. 2nd best field goal percentage in school history, but missed his first time. This from 27 yards. And that's more like it, and the Vols are back on top with 2:18 to go in this third quarter. Jeremy Pruitt's team now on top. This game typically goes down to the wire, but South Carolina didn't have anything for the Volunteers last year in this game, as Jarrett Garantano entered on the 3rd series of the game after the first play brought the Helinski to Shi Smith 75-yard touchdown. Marquez Callaway with a punt return to the house. Muschamp's team was on top at the half, but it was all orange shirts in the second half. Kevon Bennett all over the quarterback. Batuli with the block punt and the touchdown. That was the beginning of this current 6-game winning streak for Tennessee, trying to make it 7 tonight.
A game where Jarrett Garantano didn't even get to start. You know, they opened up the game. Jawan Jennings is in there at quarterback, Brian Maurer. They had to manage that quarterback position really delicately a season ago. Garantano comes off the bench and is able to help lead his team to a big victory. The only loss, incidentally, that Will Muschamp has ever had versus Tennessee as a head coach.
Jeremy Pruitt was 2-5. The Vols, that was their record on the season going into that game. Finished the year 8-5, now ranked 16th in the country, and with the lead over the Gamecocks right now, Alyssa.
Yeah, guys, I was standing on the sidelines just a few minutes ago listening to the Tennessee defense as they came off the field after the last South Carolina touchdown. And a lot of times after defensive breakdowns this late in the game, the guys start jawing at each other. They're not happy with each other. It was not the case for Tennessee. Jalen McCullough, their DB, was really leading the charge, saying, guys, it's almost the fourth quarter. We have to go. That was something Henry To'o told me too. Last year, these guys were young. It just means they get to pick up where they left off last season. They feel like they're playing some of their best ball right now.
Certainly are. Both teams looking so strong offensively in this third quarter. Zaquandre White tries to hit it to the outside, and he'll get a couple there. It'll be second down. Cinch, what's been the difference for Mike Bobo's offense here in the third quarter, scoring touchdowns each time they've had the ball?
I do think that they've done a much better job on first down productivity, something that they had to emphasize. They opened the game that way, but then they got away from it as far as how well the defense was playing them on those firsts.
White finds a little space and dives ahead near a first down marker. It'll be spotted just short. It'll be 3rd and 1.
Back-to-back carries for the South Carolina offense. And you can see a little bit of burst from Zaquandre White, who has really been the featured back here in the second half after Kevin Harris getting most of the carries in the first. That arguably could be part of the difference that we've seen. The other piece, though, is that they were able to hit a couple explosives. Hit Xavier Leggett downfield, and then you started tackling at the middle of the defense for Tennessee successfully.
On an end around, Shi Smith. Did he get the sideline? I don't know. Marked short.
That spot looks well. I don't know if he got the first, but I don't know about that spot.
Neither does Will Muschamp.
He's standing right there. I'm sure he will assist the line judge.
He's talking to his coaches upstairs, wondering if he should challenge that. And clearly, after looking at a replay upstairs, the coaches say, nope, he didn't get it. So it's the right call on the sideline there. It's 4th down.
And you know, Shi Smith, who's been huge for South Carolina tonight, but right there, you got to know where the marker is. Maybe lower your shoulder and try to muscle your way downfield.
Good kick by Kroger with a flag down, and Eric Gray calls for a fair catch inside the 20. Officials haven't been too busy tonight. Just 3 total penalties have been called in this game.
Illegal substitution on the offense. Number 9 was still in the field of play when the ball was snapped, and that made more than 11 players. The penalty is 5 yards, and we're going to be forced from the end of the return, first down.
Let's go back and look at where Shi Smith was out of bounds on this jet sweep on this 3rd and 1.
Well, I'll tell you what, the fact that you're running a jet sweep.
Tennessee has chosen to accept the 5-yard penalty at previous spot. It'll be 4th down.
That means Tennessee will force South Carolina to punt again after Kroger had a good one, so we'll do this again.
And if you're South Carolina, you hold your collective breath. As Will Muschamp said, Kroger, he's an athlete, he's a good punter, but he's not very consistent yet. So you force him to punt it away one more time. We've already seen some adventures in special teams here tonight. That's a bang-bang play on that end around, a fly sweep rather to Shi Smith. You gotta find a way to get that yardage right there as you're running to the boundary.
See if Tennessee can get some yardage after taking this penalty as Kroger try to punt it again to Eric Gray after a good one last time.
Came after it.
Gray fields it, and it'll end up netting Tennessee about 13 yards by accepting that penalty. Tonight, it's the premiere of SEC football final, hosted by Dari Noko, Gene Chizik, Chris Doering, and Roman Harper. I'll take you through the biggest stories from the day and break all the games down. It's at 10:30 Eastern right here on the SEC Network and the ESPN app. Really have enjoyed watching Roman this season. I know you've been on a lot with him on SEC Now, a Super Bowl winning player with the New Orleans Saints and a Crimson Tide defensive back. Chris Doering has been working out like a crazy man as they've delayed the start of the season. Thankfully, he's put the weights down. It's time to play some football.
He looks hungry. I'm gonna buy the guy a sandwich.
And a flag comes in here as we approach the end of the third quarter, just 41 seconds remaining.
Prior to the snap, false start, offense number 75. 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
Now, I know we've had flags on consecutive plays as Jerome Carvin gets one there, but Cinch, I'm pretty impressed at the lack of flags we've seen in the first game with such little practice time.
And when you pointed that out earlier, and it's felt like a pretty clean game. They've certainly let them play, especially in some of these contested throws, but nothing where I think it's been missed. That's a credit to both these teams. They played a relatively clean game.
Eric Gray has a hole, and he gets out near the 34-yard line, picking up 6. Will Gray and Chandler be the face of Jim Chaney's offense this year? This guy, Gray, was the MVP of the Gator Bowl, rushing for 115 yards in the win over Indiana, and he had 246 versus Vandy in the regular season finale.
94-yarder versus the Commodores. It set a record. Longest run by a freshman in conference history.
Garantano's just going to let the clock run out and get ready to play the fourth quarter. Wouldn't you know it, it's a one-score game between the Gamecocks and the Vols. And now let's take a look at our 15 minutes or less, brought to you by Geico.
Well, this tells the story. Tip pass to Shi Smith, who's been targeted, and Henry To'oTo'o takes it in. Pick 6. South Carolina answers in the third quarter. Another slant to Shi Smith in the slot. And then Samaglia, who was able to hammer a couple of game winners, is able to get up there. Does a great job of splitting the uprights. Missed a field goal earlier in the third quarter, but was able to get UT back on top.
2nd and 9 for the Vols to start this final frame, just shy of their own 35-yard line. Jarrett Garantanos looks steady tonight. This time he throws too high over the head of Palmer. It'll be 3rd and 9. The South Carolina defense has not stopped Tennessee in the second half. The Vols just missed a field goal on the only drive they didn't score on. Here's the Gamecocks' chance to get off the field. Down 3 to these Volunteers.
Only 2 down linemen. You see 4 potential rushers in the box. One's a big body. Look at Enigbari up at the top.
Plenty of time, and it's a wide throw as he was looking for Johnson. 4th down.
So South Carolina kind of went with one of those radar fronts, meaning you got to figure out where guys are going to end up. You had 2 down linemen who had already declared. They got their hands in the dirt. Then you got 2 guys kind of standing up. Enigbari did a great job. He folded right inside. The pressure is right in Garantano's face. Makes it hard on those downfield throws because he can't step into it.
Paxton Brooks, 4th punt of the night. Jamie Robinson standing back there. Boy, it's a great one from Brooks.
Yeah.
Fair catch by Robinson, takes him all the way inside the 15-yard line. It'll be marked shy of the 15 at the 14-yard line. That is a 52-yard punt by Paxton Brooks. Next Saturday, it just keeps going and going. Mizzou and the Vols kick it off at noon Eastern. Then it's the Cats and the Rebels at 4. We'll call that one at 7:30. It's LSU and Vandy. LSU trying to bounce back after the loss today to Mississippi State. Speaking of the Bulldogs, home opener for Mike Leach against the Razorbacks on SEC Network alternate channel on Saturday night. Gamecocks and Colin Hill down 3 to start this final quarter, and a nice strike thrown up near the 30-yard line to who else? Shi Smith. Shi well over 120 yards receiving. That's 16 more.
Pro set, high formation, play action. And it's an easy pitch and catch. Shi Smith, as you mentioned, working out of his comfort zone in the slot, able to pick up an easy opening first down on this possession.
140 yards receiving. Deshaun Fenwick to the ground, and he's past the 35 up to the 37-yard line.
South Carolina went back to a scheme, kind of a full blocking scheme, right on the edge. You crash down your tackle and you pull your guard as a lead blocker.
Fenwick again, patient running, and it's a first down near midfield. And a flag comes in on a late hit.
Jeremy Banks, number 33 for Tennessee. He's clearly out of bounds. You don't need it. We saw this earlier in the Auburn game. Had a pick six negated. Just unnecessary play.
Personal foul. Defense number 33. Late hit out of bounds. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
Well, you're helping an offense that doesn't need help right now. You see it clearly late. Coming in there, Fenwick was at 2 feet already out of bounds. He's handled. You don't need it. We'll give him a free first down and a half after a big gainer, and now in plus territory.
All the way down to the Volunteer 35-yard line. Harris inside the 30, down near the 22. Yep, they mark him down at the 22-yard line.
I don't think he was down. I don't know. I wonder if he was down. It looked like it happened so quickly. Watch Harris try to spin out of this tackle. See Bryce Thompson coming up. He's not down.
Oh, he's not. Oh, maybe right there.
Sure enough. I was right for about a millisecond. Great job by the official on the field.
It is a first down, 13 yards for Harris. And here's Kevin again. Inside the 15. And down near the 12-yard line. Boy, South Carolina's offensive line was not holding their own in the first half. They've done a much better job in the second half.
Well, they made a change at right tackle. They pulled for Sean Lee. Now they've been able to kind of collapse that right side. They've done a great job of it.
And that scoring, that stat you just saw on the screen, South Carolina dominated in the fourth quarter last year. 7 of the 8 SEC opponents they face outscored them in the final frame, including Tennessee, who whipped them. Hill, all kinds of time, and across the middle incomplete to Shi Smith, who wants a flag but won't get it.
Try to force one in there that time. Lucky get this ball back. You see more of what Alyssa was talking about, a lot of jawing. There was some contact, there's no doubt. All night long, we've seen one PI, and it was a blatant PI. But this officiating crew, they've allowed the defenders and these receivers to be very physical in their routes. As that ball arrives, we've seen a lot of physical finishes to these throws.
Smith goes in motion, and it's Harris hitting the hole, but tackled. Nice open field tackle by Kevon Bennett. Look at the athleticism Biscuits boy is showing off.
You got to get control of this now. I know chippiness is getting physical. Shi Smith in there mixing it up. You got to get him out of there. If you're a South Carolina Gamecock, you got to go in there and get your playmaker out of there. Last thing you need in the final stanza, you got a scoring opportunity, is for your playmaker to do something stupid. Not only cost you yards, but maybe get tossed.
Great point. Of course, Biscuit would be Cornelius Bennett. Incredible linebacker from Alabama, watching his son play for the Vols. Here's a third down play, 10 yards to go.
No Shi Smith on the field.
Hill in trouble, sacked. Just shy of the 20-yard line. DeAndre Johnson in there again.
That time more of a coverage sack. Colin Hill knew he can't make a bad decision right here. Don't throw the ball under duress. It's a 3-point game. You see him with his eyes downfield. Doesn't like that first read. Looked like he wanted to hit something to the left side of the formation, if not a swing pass to the back out of the backfield. Eat the football and try to end the possession with a kick.
Parker White to tie things up. This is a 35-yard attempt for the senior from Mount Pleasant, South Carolina. And he's done just that. On almost an annual basis, the Gamecocks and Vols go to the wire. Nothing different this year. Sandstorm on a Saturday night in South Carolina. Gamecocks and Volunteers tied up at 24 apiece. How good is it to have college football back in the Deep South? Parker White, make it Mitch Jeter actually, kicking deep to Velus Jones, and Jeter's done a good job kicking all night. Tennessee starts at the 25. Let's look at the comeback moment supplemented by Aflac.
We talk about what's gone on. It's been the story of the second half. And Shi Smith once again helping to lead the charge. Deshaun Fenwick in space, fighting his way down to the goal line. They punch it in on a QB sneak. And then Parker White able to stripe one right down the middle to knot this game up.
Ty Chandler is ahead, and he gets almost 8 yards. Alyssa, how good is it to be back on the sidelines of a tight game in the SEC?
Man, it's indescribable. You guys know this. Everyone at home knows this. I mean, I still remember being in Nashville for the men's basketball tournament and getting sent home when the sports world and the entire world really stopped. So this is nice. I'm going to savor it.
And Chandler right at the first down marker to the 35-yard line. And that really puts things in perspective, what she just said. I mean, world stopped that day in the second week of March. And if you're a big fan of the SEC, the basketball tournament's going on in Nashville. They say, everybody go home. It's the last time we've really seen Southeastern Conference action until today.
Well, and spring practices were going on. Tennessee, I think, got 2 practices in before they got shut down.
Garantano fakes to Gray. From a muddy pocket, he finds a wide open receiver streaking down the sideline inside the 35-yard line, and it's caught by Johnson. Brandon Johnson's had a big night, the 5th-year senior, with another catch, this one for 33 yards.
And Jarrett Garantano took a shot, stood in there, and delivered it downfield.
Going quickly, Garantano wants to throw the deep ball, end zone, touchdown! Josh Palmer. 33 yards to Johnson, 32 yards to Palmer.
Went after Cam Smith, who's been in at corner here in the second half. Got called for a PI earlier. You see this matchup outside. Cam Smith just goes to the ground. Josh Palmer. An easy look and a well-placed ball from Garantano, uncontested, after Smith went to the ground.
Well, one of the big questions coming into tonight is who's going to replace Juwan Jennings? Who will replace Marquez Callaway? Garantano's found some new faves. Brandon Johnson and Josh Palmer. And Tennessee's back on top.
What you're looking at is what should be the starting cornerback and was tonight. Israel Mukwamu, number 24, started the game. We haven't seen him since late in the second quarter. It's been Cam Smith who's been taken advantage of. Tennessee has gone after him repeatedly downfield. One resulted in a PI. They tried the corner route. It was a little bit overthrown earlier, and finally Garantano able to connect with Josh Palmer working against the freshman. Otherwise, that's typically a 6'4", 205-pound corner who's thought to be half of one of the best defensive back duos in the country, the other being J.C. Horn. He has not been available here in the second half for South Carolina.
He had those 3 picks against Georgia last year, but nowhere to be found at the moment. South Carolina gets it at the 25, Alyssa.
Yeah, guys, as we look at this game, 9:35 left to go. It's a one-score game. Colin Hill taking the field. Stinch, you mentioned J.C. Horn. Well, he's gone against him in practice for the last 40 days or so he knows a little bit about Colin Hill. One of the first things he told us about him was his poise is so noticeable. He's got this confidence about him. Gamecock fans will certainly hope to see that now as we finish out this game. I can say on the sidelines, he just flips the hair, puts the helmet on, takes the field. Let's go.
A little hair flip.
There you go. Zaquandre White in the backfield with Hill and a little dump off, and that is blown up. Blown up in the backfield by Bryce Thompson. Guy playing 20 minutes from home from Irmo, South Carolina for the Volunteers.
I thought Bryce Thompson, he got such a good break on this. I thought for a second he might almost beat Zaquandre White to the ball, which is hard to do when you're throwing to a back right out of the backfield. Great read, great trigger by Bryce Thompson.
It's his 8th tackle tonight. It's a loss of 4. 2nd and 14, Hill, and that's underneath. And it is caught by Leggett, but it'll be 3rd and long. The Volunteers are all over the Gamecocks to start this drive.
The pocket was bending in, starting to collapse outside in on Colin Hill. He was able to deliver it just in time, surrounded by Volunteer pass rushers who've done a good job. They have won more often than not, especially on 3rd downs. A 3rd and obvious here, they'll pin their ears back.
Gamecocks 5 of 12 on 3rd down tonight. Hill to the sideline, and it's incomplete. He was looking for Leggett, and Alante Taylor has the last word.
Time, pretty good protection. As you see, one-on-one with Alante Taylor. Looked like Taylor grabbed that jersey just a little bit. See him as he goes by. He actually pulled him towards the ball. But all night, as you see Derek Ansley there, he's fired up, the coordinator for Tennessee.
Kai Kroger with his 6th punt tonight for the true freshman. This is a short one, and Eric Gray will watch it die near midfield. A short punt of just 27 yards.
Now where you can join me and my 3 new co-hosts, Spencer Hall, Brandon Boykin, and Richard Johnson. We're going to talk all things SEC football. And you know, if you've watched the show, we're going to have a dang good time doing it. So hang out with us. The social media is typically pumping through that. Taylor Stinch, I know you like to tweet and watch the show too.
You know me.
We appreciate that.
Big tweeter. GMAC tells me there's a new name to that show as the little pass goes out there to Valus Jones Jr. for a few. GMAC, since you threw him off the show, Alyssa, says the name of the show is Thinking Out Lang now.
Yeah, unfortunately, legal wouldn't approve that, so we can't. It's still Thinking Out Loud. I'll still try, though. I'm still trying, because, you know, Thinking Out Lang's pretty cool, right?
We're pumped about that on Monday night. I know you're going to have a blast with that, with some New cast of characters that have, as you said, made a big name for themselves on social media. Ty Chandler moves around on this 2nd and 7 next to Garantano, and Garantano to Keaton, and it's dropped near the sideline. As again, some good coverage by the Gamecocks secondary. That's John Dixon.
Nice trigger that time by John Dixon. They've got a hard time getting connected with Ramel Keaton. Big 3rd down. We've seen them go after this secondary repeatedly on these 3rd downs, not just for conversions, but for big plays.
Garantano over the head of Brandon Johnson. It's 4th down.
Working against Jamie Robinson. They like Robinson so much. Another one of those freshman starters from a season ago. That ball high from Garantano. A missed opportunity for this Tennessee offense. They started this possession right at midfield, and they couldn't advance it even 5 yards. Now South Carolina a chance not only to get this possession back, but you're standing on your own 11-yard line to try to field this punt.
That's Jamie Robinson standing there. He'll come up a little bit, make the catch at the 14. And that's where South Carolina will start.
Man, shopping at Academy is such an experience. It's like fun you didn't even know you needed. All over the place. It's everywhere. What? Oh, okay. Yep. Yeah. So help me if you want to.
I'd love to.
South Carolina with the football, 7:11 to go in the game, down a touchdown to Tennessee. Volunteers started this 6-game winning streak against the Gamecocks in Knoxville last October. Deshaun Fenwick, who's looked good in the second half, is past the 20-yard line, giving Colin Hill and that offense a little space. It'll be 2nd down and 4.
I say big Javon Gwynn, right guard for South Carolina, is one of their strongest players. The right side's doing a pretty good job. South Carolina they've had a lot of success running to that right side, into the boundary, getting some nice push at the point of attack now.
Fenwick with nowhere to go this time as Jeremy Banks was in the backfield with Fenwick as soon as he got the ball.
As an offensive lineman, you're hesitant to bring guys up. Javon Gwynn this time, watch him pull out number 54 from right guard. You got to be ready for that edge player. That's your guy. Jeremy Banks just knifes into the backfield. Great job by number 33. Got flagged earlier for a late hit out of bounds on a big play, that time with a negative yardage play.
As an option toss and a good one to Fenwick for a 1st down. We'll see if this counts as a run or a pass. South Carolina, 34 passes, 34 rushes going into that play, and it's a 1st down.
How's that for balance? You see it just enough. DeAndre Johnson, Colin Hill, who's not a runner, and they actually said that was a forward pitch. So a completed pass that time to Fenwick.
And they even it up again, 35 apiece as Fenwick takes this carry up near the 42-yard line, and that's exactly what Mike Bobo was brought in to do. Make sure that you keep the defense honest, running and throwing.
I'll tell you what, Henry To'oTo'o dropped 15 pounds, and it certainly helped him on that pick 6. As you see Eric Douglas, now that's your starting center. And he lost his helmet, so he's out. We're talking about Colin Hill, new quarterback. Now you got a new center in there. Watch the center quarterback exchange.
And flag comes in.
They reset the game clock. You see Vincent Murphy, number 74, the new center in the game for Eric Douglas. Who had to leave the game because he lost his headgear.
Dead ball foul, face mask, defense number 33.
Wow.
15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Yeah, so now they're saying, look.
Number 71 may remain in the ball game. He was the victim of the foul.
The flag came in. Jeremy Banks apparently forced Eric Douglas his helmet to pop off, so he doesn't have to come out of the game. He ended up getting a penalty going the other way. Look at it, he just rips it off. That's two stupid penalties by Jeremy Banks. He makes a good play off the edge, and then a late hit, and then you're standing right there. There's at least two, if not three officials that can see that. You rip a guy's helmet off.
And the back judge about 10 seconds later says, hey, wait a minute, guys.
Yeah, hang on.
Oh, we got a problem here. So a fresh set of downs for South Carolina and Tennessee territory, under 5 to go. Hill has time and a wide open receiver. Inside the 30, it's Leggett.
He was open for like 3 or 4 seconds. Bryce Thompson is playing inside. He's expecting safety to roll down right now, and Jalen McCullough, he's late getting there. You could see him communicating after that completion to Leggett.
And on the next play, Leggett doesn't know the snap count.
False start, offense number 17. 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
You know what I say, whenever you see a wide receiver false start, you better believe that they were probably about to call his number. Those guys are eager. You just had a nice play. They're over the football. They're going to come right back to you on the outside. You get those guys, they get a little bit nervous, they get a little bit eager. Instead, it costs his offense a little bit of momentum in 5 yards.
Both teams with 4 penalties tonight. Now 1st and 15 for the Gamecocks outside the Volunteer 30. Hill just throws that one towards the ground at Fenwick, who was covered up. It'll be 2nd down. South Carolina, Will Muschamp said going into this game that he was really pleased with how healthy his team is, given the limited amount of practices. That was a 1 positive that came out of August. But he is missing, like you said, Marshawn Lloyd, the true freshman that tore his ACL. And then a receiver, Jalen Brooks, was not ruled eligible tonight, and he looked really good in August too. Gamecocks playing without both of those guys.
No Ortre Smith, no Randricus Davis, both guys opting out due to COVID concerns.
2nd and 15. Hill had Muse, but it's just a little bit high for him. Couldn't make the grab.
Nick Muse has been clutch most of the night. He's had conversions for first downs on a couple of key thirds. He's got to catch this football. He's got to be able to catch that football. Just run through it, man. Instead, the Vols catch a break. Because otherwise, key reception, no doubt, and put him within striking distance to convert if he's not able to keep running with that ball.
We'll see if the Gamecocks have 2 plays to get a first down here. On this 3rd and 15, Fenwick breaks the first tackle, gets inside the 30, down near the 27. Now what do you do with 4 minutes and clock running, down 7? Do you go for it or you take the points?
Well, it doesn't matter what I do because they're already sending Parker White out there. So you got to wonder, you're saying, look, defense, we got to get the ball back one more time. We talked about Parker White. He's had a couple of game-winning field goals versus the Vols in his time here. We were talking with the coaches. Will Muschamp was talking about just how solid he has been.
This no chip shot, though. 46 yards for White. Trying to make it a 4-point game. And a perfect kick with 3:16 left in the game. Tennessee up 31-27 on a 9-play, 57-yard drive. Now the Gamecock defense is going to have to make a stand on the Volunteers. The joy of double numbers in college football. So Trayvon Flowers, they want him on special teams. Bayless Jones wears number 1, so does he. He can't play out there if Bayless is out there too. So he just switched from 1 to 99, from one end to the other.
He looked kind of psyched to be number 99, did he? Jacked up.
Vols up 4. And really, Stinch, a first down puts it away. Gamecocks have to get off the field and use those timeouts.
Well, the magic is just get Tennessee to third down. They have been horrible all night long. They're 1 of 9 on third downs. And we know when that happened, it was on their scoring drive back in the first quarter to Brandon Johnson. 1 conversion on 9 attempts for Tennessee. If you're South Carolina, find a way to win on first and second down.
It's Gray as the lone back there, following his blockers, and a big 8-yard gain on first down, exactly what Jeremy Pruitt and Jim Chaney wanted.
They went with the heavy horse. Big 2 tight end set.
South Carolina, first timeout of the half. This will be a 30-second timeout.
So what do you want? We just talk about get them to third down? That's tough to do when you give up 8 yards on first down. Look at this entry to the line of scrimmage. Clean. John Dixon in there. Put him in there, I think, in relief of Cam Smith, who's in there in relief of Israel Mukwamu, who we're still not clear as to why he's not on the field. That's exactly like you said it, Taylor. That's exactly what you want on first down in this situation. Force South Carolina to burn a timeout. They're just trying to preserve clock at this point.
Gray just with 40 yards rushing tonight. Does have a touchdown run for Jarrett Garantano, who's trying to extend this winning streak to 7.
Tennessee did not run the football well at all in the first half. 10 yards. These situations when you want to assert yourself, this is the strength of your team, supposedly.
And this is where they've struggled tonight, only getting average of 2 yards on second down. And this time it's no problem as they gash the Gamecocks straight up the gut, and Ty Chandler is into South Carolina territory.
Timeout, South Carolina. Second timeout of the half. This will be a 30-second timeout.
Huge hole. Watch it collapse. This whole left side. Man, just close your eyes and go bang your head on the goalpost. The only thing between you and the end zone is J.C. Horn. He kind of steer wrestles Ty Chandler to the ground.
Big Princeton Fant with a huge hole there for Chandler. And South Carolina has only 1 timeout. If Tennessee does not get another first down, then South Carolina would have enough time to get the football back. Look at the rushing yards for the Volunteers in the second half tonight. Chandler, and this time there's a flag coming in.
False start. Offense number 93. 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
Tennessee's been changing uniforms, changing jerseys with several of their players with double numbers here tonight.
Double numbers and no names on the back.
That always makes it fun.
Yeah, that's good. The good news is when you jump off sides, we can't call out your name.
They used to not call out your number. Now first and 15, and it's Chandler, no place to go, will lose yardage. He's bottled up by that Gamecock defense. Aaron Sterling and Ernest Jones there.
Taylor looked weird, Garantano.
Timeout.
Coming
South
off.
Carolina.
He was coming out of
Third and
center
final
right there, off
timeout of the
under center. It looked like he bobbled that snap a little bit for a second. So the exchange, the timing of that exchange was off from the get-go. When you see it trying to get back down to the line of scrimmage. I don't know if he almost lost the football. It could have been calamity for the Vols right there.
How much have you missed this?
Quite a bit, and for a long time, too. It's been a long walk in the desert for college football fans.
It sure has. It's just so great to be back. This game always seems to go down to the wire with these two great Southeastern Conference rivals. Tennessee looking for their 7th straight win. South Carolina is trying to win the first game of the year against an SEC opponent for the first time in 4 years. They've been playing uphill in the Will Muschamp era.
Yeah, it's been a challenge for them, there's no doubt, especially in that opening stanza when they hit conference play. And as we've already noted, everyone's aware, you got 9 more of these after this.
So now 2nd and 18. Gamecocks are out of timeouts. 2:57 to go in the game. A toss ahead to Velus Jones, staying in bounds wisely, but losing more yardage. It'll be 3rd and a mile for Tennessee.
You mentioned it, though. That's smart. Get to the boundary. Don't give them a chance to try to throw you out of bounds. Obviously going backwards. So you saw South Carolina, they used their timeouts early when there was more than 3 minutes left. It's taken them a while. This is the 3rd down we talked about when they opened up this possession. You kicked the field goal, then you gave up 8 yards on the 1st down. But you finally got Tennessee to 3rd down, and as we mentioned, they have struggled mightily, and there's little likelihood they convert here.
And they'll keep the clock ticking. Eric Gray with a flag on the field on a 3rd and 22.
Stops the clock.
False start, offense. Not all 11 players were set for a full second. 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
A couple of procedure penalties for the Tennessee offense. You're sitting there, Velus Jones gets down inbounds, clock's running. You get a penalty, stops the clock on a 3rd down where you're not even looking to convert.
It's 3rd down and 27 to go. Tennessee has to get
just the game clock for 2 minutes and 15 seconds. 2:15.
Just put 7 more seconds on the clock for South Carolina.
You would never know that Williams-Brice is not packed to the gills.
The game clock operator can't even hear the official on the field. Wants to put 7 more seconds, now 2:15 to play with on this 3rd down.
Gray up near the 40, short of that, about the 39-yard line. And Tennessee can take this down to just about 130 or so before Paxton Brooks would have to punt it away.
We saw earlier a little bit of difficulty with the deep snap. They make the change. So Brian Aiken's going to be the deep snapper. They had one that rolled back there. Will Albright. Paxton Brooks had to field it. An ill-fated pass attempt. South Carolina's hoping for an opportunity here.
Yeah, that's it. And a timeout called by Tennessee with 89 seconds.
Tennessee, 1st of the half. A 30-second timeout.
1:29 to go in the game for Jeremy Pruitt, trying to get a 7th consecutive victory. Next week, a home opener on Rocky Top against Mizzou, then at the Georgia Bulldogs. You could look at every SEC schedule and say, oh my gosh, there are landmines everywhere. Everybody has to run the gauntlet. Will Muschamp, the South Carolina coach, said, whoever wins this league will be the greatest, most deserving champion ever.
That's right, well, and that's a good point. You know, we talk about, like last year, you go 3-5 in conference. This year, I mean, you finished with 5 wins in conference. Every other season, that's a remarkable year.
1 minute and 33 seconds. 1:33.
And again, seeking to put 4 seconds more on the clock. Minute 33 as Paxton Brooks punts this away. You can't help but rewind to the last South Carolina possession where they end up kicking that field goal, and Nick Muse with the potential conversion.
Matthew Solansky, the backup long snapper, has done a really good job tonight. And that ball wasn't touched by a Gamecock. It's recovered by Tennessee. Jimmy Holiday recovers it as Jamie Robinson is incredulous at the fact that his Gamecock teammates touched it.
I think it was Cam Smith again. I think this ball. And that ball did. Bounced up, caught Cam Smith in his right leg.
And that's the way it ends for South Carolina. Colin Hill and the Gamecocks won't get one last chance, and Tennessee can put a knee on it and march out of Columbia with a 7th straight win. And that look says it all.
How about that for special teams? We just got done talking about it. Does it go the other way? Nearly cost the Vols in the first half, but instead they get a huge break in special teams. That ball bouncing off of Cam Smith. You got about a minute and a half. Clock would have been running inside of that. But at least an opportunity to move the football down the field. Instead, you get to down it in victory formation.
Well, you never knew it would end like this, but you got to give Paxton Brooks credit for executing the perfect type of punt that you would want in that scenario.
Timeout, Tennessee. Second timeout of the half, a 30-second timeout.
If you've been flipping around all night, Will Albright, the long snapper, had trouble getting it back to Brooks on the first punt of the game. He was benched for Matthew Solansky, and Solansky's done a bang-up job. You'd never think it comes down to a good long snap back to the punter who executes a perfect soccer-style kick. But that ball hits Cam Smith in the leg, and that's the difference.
Special teams, it's been huge all season, especially in this COVID era of college football. And it proved ultimately to be a big phase of the game here tonight, exchanging field goals, the bad snap, and then of course the inadvertent touch by South Carolina to seal it for the Vols.
Jeremy Pruitt's the most candid coach we've ever talked to in a meeting, ever.
Yeah. Yes.
I mean, it's not even close. And we asked him about special teams, and he said it'll probably come down to that, and I have no earthly idea who's going to run out there for us on special teams or what we're going to do.
He was terrified. You see Will Albright rolled one back there to Paxton Brooks, couldn't get the punt off, tried to complete a pass, ultimately did to Albright, an illegal touch. But then here late, Cam Smith is trying to block, ball rolls into the back of his leg, an inauspicious ending for South Carolina after battling back. Tennessee finds a way to get a win in the opener.
Well, we knew it would come down to the wire, and it did. We never knew it would end like this. Jeremy Pruitt and the Vols will take it. They've won 7 in a row.
Can't say enough about the way they finished the season, but it doesn't carry over. Can you keep that momentum going? And ultimately, Tennessee was capable of doing that. Hit a couple of explosive plays. The defense kept them in the game in the first half. They did a great job stopping South Carolina after an excellent opening possession. And then here in the second half as well, Taylor, South Carolina was rocking and rolling in the third quarter. They were able to get the stops when they needed it, forced a field goal, and then you get the special teams break, and it's the difference in the ballgame.
Will Muschamp and the Gamecocks have to go to the Swamp next week. Tennessee will host the Missouri Tigers.
If you're Jeremy Pruitt, you got to be pleased. You got to be pleased with the way your offensive line finally asserted itself on some nice runs, especially in that last 4-minute drill. Well, inside of 4 minutes, you want to milk that clock, and they did. They rolled some guys up front. It wasn't always pretty, especially on the ground. Missed some shots downfield, but ultimately were able to get it done.
You see the respect that Pruitt has for these Gamecocks. He's a very close friend of Will Muschamp's. They talk throughout the season, numerous times per week. Grown to have a great friendship. And Pruitt will take the win over those Gamecocks tonight.
Well, he's got to be pleased with the way his team battled. And given the amount of time that they missed coming into this game, it really was a crapshoot. Regardless of the number of players that Tennessee was going to return, how game ready were they? How prepared? They ultimately they kind of played their way into game shape over the course of 4 quarters.
Coach Pruitt's down there with Alyssa.
Coach, congrats on the win. What did you tell to your team ahead of this season opener?
Well, that I'm proud of them. I'm proud of the courage that they've had to really tackle the unknown. Same for South Carolina, same for everybody that's playing ball right now. These guys came back when we didn't really know what the future held. They stayed positive. Had a lot of adversity back home, had adversity tonight, but our kids just kept playing.
Big performance by your defense tonight, specifically Henry To'o. What did you like about what you saw from that unit?
Well, we didn't play consistently the whole game. We played in spurts, and you have to give South Carolina credit. They done a really nice job. Came back when we were up 21-7. But I'm tickled to death that we won. We wanted to find a way, and I'm proud of our team and our coaches and everybody in our organization for the fight and the resiliency that they showed tonight.
Bit of a different start for you guys this year than it was last year. As far as Jarrett's performance offensively, what did you see from Jarrett tonight? What did you see from your quarterback tonight?
So made some good plays. Was high on a lot of balls. So we got to go back and figure out, where we're at offensively and where we can create some consistency. But we put some drives together and finished the game off. So
thank you, Coach. Congrats.
Big Orange with a big win over the South Carolina Gamecocks. SEC football final presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors is coming up next. For Matt Stinchcomb and Alyssa Lang, I'm Taylor Zarzer saying goodnight from Columbia, South Carolina. Tennessee outlasts the Gamecocks 31-27. Can't wait for week 2.